Hello there, Internet. MegaMogwai here, and I got another video for you guys today. Today I bring the dankness yet again, as I have an Azorius artifact deck called Dovin's Antiquities. It is the evolution of a deck list that I showcased off a few weeks back, before even Ravnica Allegiance was released, and obviously my channel started getting more traction. I built a deck around Psi Master Thopterus, which was, which utilized the Antiquities War as a win condition. And this is the upgraded version of that deck, as we received quite a few new toys from Ravnica Allegiance. And on top of that, I have found a way to make this deck more consistent and just overall more reliable. And if you're new to this strategy, I think you're gonna like this bad boy right here. We're building a deck around the Antiquities War, which is a 4-mana enchantment saga from the Dominaria set that says the following. Chapters 1 and 2, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you choose an artifact and put it in your hand. Pretty straightforward. It kind of like adds fuel in the form of artifact to your hand, right? But Chapter 3, this fucking thing goes bananas, and it transforms all of your artifacts into artifact creatures. So they don't have to be a creature. Any artifact you have on the board, that includes treasures, becomes a 5/5, and can just go face, right? So the idea of this deck is to swarm the board with little artifact Thopter creatures, and also just low mana cost artifacts that aren't creatures, and OTK the fuck out of your opponent with them. It's actually absolutely glorious when it happens, and it is a rather consistent build at pulling this combo off, if I say so myself. I'm very excited to share this with you guys. It's still a list that I feel I can optimize, and I'm also working on a sideboard, even though in today's video I'm going to showcase off best of 1 gameplay. But I'm working on a sideboard with some Dawn of Hope negates, Diamond Mares for aggros, Sorceress Spyglass for the Nexus matchup, and Scrabbling Claws for Golgarian, Sultai mid-range decks, etc. It's a work in progress, like I said. I really want to aim to make this deck efficient for best of 3, but obviously this sort of strategy, I wouldn't say rely, but definitely benefits quite heavily from the surprise factor, and it's really when it shines, right? Because your opponent's like, what the fuck am I playing against? They don't understand the strategy, generally until it's a little bit too late, right? And yeah, that's the idea. We're gonna surprise people and just kill them with artifacts, and it's gonna be absolutely outstanding. So how are we gonna pull this off? Well, we have 3 planeswalkers which are gonna help our goal. Those are Dovin, Grand Arbiter, English, Karn, Sign of Urza, and Tezzeret, Artifice Master. These 3 artifacts have one thing in common. They create artifact creatures. Dovin and Tezzeret generate a Thopter artifact creature token with flying, which is very important because, having flying makes it so that it's very hard to block, and thus we are more likely to connect and deal damage with it, right? Which is very important when we convert it into a 5/5. And Karn, which is actually here more than anything for its -2 loyal ability, because most of the time when you play Karn, you use him as a resource for card draw in multiple different decks. But in this particular build, we're actually aiming to use the -2 more than anything, as because we have such a good ability at storming the board with artifacts, the construct artifact creatures that we create with Karn are going to be significantly powerful. Like, we're talking a lot of stats for very little, and it's going to be a really effective way to stop the opponent's onslaught and apply pressure ourselves. So we have this triple planeswalker package alongside a bunch of low-cost artifact spells. We have Mox Amber as a 2-up because it's a legendary artifact, so that's the only reason why I don't run 4 copies of this, because we can't have more than 1 copy of it. That is, it's legendary itself, right? But we have quite a bit of legendary cards here that can enable us to, tap this and efficiently ramp with it too, as we have Psi Master Thopterus, legendary creature, we have Dovin, legendary planeswalker, we have Tezzeret, legendary planeswalker, and we have Zahid, Djinn of the Lamp, which is a legendary creature. So we have quite a few legendary permanents. Something that I learned in the process, I honestly, like, Mox Amber was one of the most recent additions, and in theory I had the idea to combine it with Karn as well, but as you're gonna see in my second match of today, I learned that Mox Amber does not work with Karn because it basically adds 1 mana of a color of a legendary creature or planeswalker you control. And because Karn is colorless, you cannot generate a colorless mana. I thought you could, but you can't. I tried it, and you're just not allowed. So this is something that I was unaware of, and like I said, I learned in the middle of the match. You'll see me getting a bit confused, but here I am from the future telling you that that's why it doesn't work. Yeah, and I end up realizing this, later down the line in the game, right? But it takes me a bit. I get confused for a while. So yeah, we have 2 copies of Mox Amber, 2 copies of Explosive Apparatus, 4 copies of Fountain of Renewal for aggro matchups, 4 copies of Treasure Map, because when we generate 3 treasures, all those 3 treasures can eventually become 5/5s as well. So we don't want to sacrifice all of them later down the line with Treasure Cove for card draw unless we need to search for key combo components, right? And 4 copies of Voltaic Servant, which is just solid. It's a 1/3, and it enables us to utilize an artifact and then reutilize it potentially, as we can untap it at the beginning of our end step. Then we have 3 copies of Sai, Master Thopterist, one of the biggest enablers in this deck, as it is a 3-mana legendary creature. In the prior version of my list, the deck was very, very reliant on Sai. This one is less so, because now we have Dovin to aid both Karn and Tezzeret. So we have multiple ways to flood the board, and we don't necessarily require Sai for this deck to truly work, right? Before it was kind of like really dependent on him. Now he still supports this strategy tremendously, but we can move on and keep on working for our strategy if he gets removed, which is a good thing, that when you try to build, even if you try to build jank decks, one of the mistakes many people make when they try to make, meme decks or jank decks or unique decks is that they put too much weight on certain cards to carry the whole strategy. Like, if the deck does not have a certain card, it kind of falls flat on its face. And you have to try to avoid that, even when you're building, jank decks, as people call them, right? While it is true that this deck does rely on Antiquities War as a win condition, we have 4 copies of it, and it's an enchantment, and we have many tutors for it. And it's not a creature that can get removed from the board. It's an enchantment. So it getting removed is less likely to happen on a consistent basis. So yeah, we have Sai, we have Zahid, because he's fantastic. Honestly, 4 mana, 5/6 with flying in this deck, basically, and that is pretty damn good. We run him as a 2-of because he is a legendary creature, so we can't have multiple copies of him. So the same reasoning behind, Mox Amber. The reason why we run 3 Sai is because he's more prone to getting removed, and he's more of a key component than Zahid is. Zahid is just a really good pile of stats that can enable us to push a little bit of extra damage, and also enable us to slow the opponent down too, potentially. We have a 1-off of Spell Swindle, because why the fuck not? It's a counter spell that can give us a lot of artifact tokens. So if we play Antiquities War, then on turn 2, or after we play it, just before it's about to proc, if our opponent's going to try to remove or do anything that can disrupt our kill, we counter it with Spell Swindle, and we get a bunch of artifact treasure tokens, and that adds extra fuel to the consequent hit that will occur, with Antiquities War when Chapter 3 is reached next turn, right? So that is the idea for running Spell Swindle as a 1-off. It's just absolutely hilarious, and it legitimately works. And that is the deck list right there. The reason why I chose 2 of Explosive Apparatus, by the way, is because I like its effect. Dealing 2 damage to any target enables us to go face with this, and sometimes we're just missing out on a little bit to kill our opponent, and Explosive Apparatus is exactly the artifact to just finish the job. So it's it finishes more games than you would think, actually, which is quite nice. And that is the deck list right there. I rambled quite a bit for like over 8 minutes, but there's quite a bit to talk about. It's a deck that took me quite a while to overall design and optimize, and I'm honestly very proud of it. It's very fun. We also run 4 Zalfrin Void, because most of our, we have a few white splash, but most of our cards are blue, and we have a lot of artifacts as well, so we can afford to run quite a few colorless lands, and I like Zalfrin Void a lot because it enables us to scry and search for our combo pieces more consistently in the form of a land, right? And that is the deck list right there. Sideboard is, like I said, a work in progress, and overall, this is a blast and just absolutely hilarious to play. So hopefully you guys enjoy the gameplay, and you guys can try out this deck list for yourselves if you can't afford it. And that's all I gotta say. Have a swell day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with more. All right, here we go. Let's get some Antiquities Wars wins. That's pretty much all I want, as I'm gonna go ahead and, go with the custom and say M. Frank will be our first victim of the day. And we have because that tends to work out. Whenever I say that, it tends to happen. So, like I said, I'm gonna keep this hand. We have double Zalfrin Void, which we can actually lead off with. Like, I'm not sure about leading off with the Explosive Apparatus, but I mean, it would be good. Okay, let's start off by leading off with the Void. and sending that to the bottom of the graveyard. We're going to scry. Then I am going to play the explosive apparatus, actually, because it'll enable us to... No, I'm not. There's no reason to play the apparatus. We'd rather preserve it for the case in which we draw... Well, now we have 2 of them, so now we kind of have to, right? Play at least 1. Because next turn we are going to curve out into Dovin. So we need to play the island here because we need to have both a source of blue and white mana. And then the turn after that we can play into Zahid here. Zahid is a very, very powerful unit to curve out into. And can definitely apply a lot of pressure onto our opponent unless they have, you know, solid removal for it. There is Antiquities War. We are gonna utilize Dovin's -1 there. Gonna create a chopper. There is the Midnight Reaper. He's gonna attack Dovin. We're gonna block. He will get to draw a card, but he'll take 1 damage, which won't really be too relevant, though it can go a long way. And now, because we played that explosive apparatus earlier, we can play Zahid this turn. That can be good, right? I'll keep that there. We're gonna tap the apparatus, and we're gonna play Zahid. Turn 4. We have a 5/6 with flying, which just completely chump blocks the shit out of him. And we're gonna hope that he does not have removal. Cast down is not enough to deal with this because it is a legendary creature, so it has to be something like Bedevil, or, you know, Brass's Contempt, Chupacabra, like a lot of 4-mana plays that he could have, right? But as of right now, we're not looking too shabby here. We're not looking too shabby at all. Okay. Okay, so if I play Antiquities War, then next turn I can play this. Yeah, I gotta start setting up the lethal. We're gonna go with this now. We're gonna get the Fountain of Renewal. And I just did that the wrong way. I just I just fucked up the sequencing there. God damn it. Oh well. It's fine. We need a land here. A land here would be very nice. Okay. No land, but we have 2 options. We could play this, or we could play 3 artifacts, which makes a lot more sense. So we're gonna drop you. Fountain of Renewal. And we're gonna go with the treasure map. I mean, we could have played the Flyers, which would have enabled us to set up lethal, but we're gonna get a huge hit off on him anyways. So he needs to develop a lot of blockers here. He needs a lot of blocking to be done. Alright. And now we can play the deploy. Well, after we attack though, right? Look at this huge hit. You gonna trade your 4/4, buddy? Yes, you are. Nice. Double nice. And we're going to play the Thopter because now we have 3 flyers on the board just threatening lethal on them. And we have explosive apparatus here, which can just enable us to get lethal next turn. The combination of this flying presence plus, you know, our explosive apparatus here should okay. So we lost 1 bird and you're dead. Perfect. He just realized we have the apparatus kill. Not bad. I guess a Rakdos demon deck, you know, so that was a pretty cool matchup. Fuck yeah. Nice. Alrighty. Round 2 against Limitless 07. Decent enough hand. A bit slow. But it seems we're not facing an aggro deck. At least that would be my initial impression. I'm going to lead off with an island here. Not gonna drop the Mox Amber. This is a card that I want to showcase off in this deck because I would rather wait for me to draw into Sai. If I can draw into Sai, I can play it after I play Sai, and then I can get a free Thopter. He can just duress us though. I wonder what he'll take. Maybe the Antiquities War, or Karn. One of these two. Or the treasure map, honestly. Like, there's a debate for taking each of these, but I would expect Karn or Antiquities War to go down. He's probably reading Antiquities War. Yeah, he doesn't like that. But it's fine. We can search for more. We have 3 more in the deck, so it's all good. So it seems we may be facing some sort of mono black deck. We're going to be tapping the treasure map here, though, and sending that to the bottom. That's a nice draw to get. I'll be dropping a Field of Ruin there. We're not going to tap this time around because we do want to play Karn. I'm going to play the Mox Amber. Ooh! Shiny! I'm going to play the Mox Amber first because he can counter my Karn play. So, he may have a Verasa's Contempt, right? But the thing is, wait, why can't I tap this? What am I missing here? Add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. I have a legendary planeswalker on the board. Why couldn't I tap this? I don't get it. All right, we're gonna. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something really key here, guys. Like. Oh, because it's not the same color as my... Because this is not any color? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I just realized what happened here. Okay. I'm not gonna play the Antiquities Ward yet. He's gonna have to steal my card in here.
Let us begin.
I'm playing around Eldritch Reborn here.
The choices we make reveal who we are.
He does have Play Crafters. Okay. So I gotta keep that in mind. I gotta keep my spell swindle available. So how much? I have 4 lands here. 5, 9, 11. Okay, so he's gonna take out my chapter. Perhaps trying to set up an Eldritch Reborn. Okay, so we can play Antiquities War here and counterspell, right? Okay, let's think about. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 mana available to us. This is 5 mana. This is 9 mana. Sorry, this is 9 mana in total, which means we can do this. We can't play this.
I learned a few tricks on Kaladesh.
And we're always gonna aim for the lowest value artifacts here. We have to be very, very wary.
This will aid us.
We're gonna play that. No! Never! Ah, that sucks. We don't find an artifact there. That is unfortunate.
I made you a gift. I'm impressed anyone would be so to benefit from another's success.
Okay. Perfect. Let's set up the lethal, boys. Hopefully, he doesn't have, like, a board wipe. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Incorrect.
Oh well.
Go ahead and gloat.
We still do have a shitload of damage.
A curious choice.
Yeah, enjoy your swamp, buddy.
Brilliance comes easily to me.
Let's smack him. Eat that, boy! Alright. And now... No, we're far from ending our turn here. Okay, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna play another Antiquities War. Because we got more. Where that came from. We're gonna take the explosive apparatus. We're gonna drop this and the Voltaic Servant. All right, round 2, buddy. What you got for me? What you got for me, Willis? That's fine. Okay. That's fair. Trying to block me, aren't you? That is adorable. Beautiful. Alright, so first we're going to play this. We shall tap this. Then we're going to play the Voltaic Servant. The explosive apparatus. And drop a land. Why not? And now? Now we wait. Alright. You kill Saeed. I get it. The question is, what are you going to do with all of these? What you going to do when the artifacts come for you? I'm not a mathematician, buddy, but I think you did.
Awaken.
I think you very, very, very much did. How about we take it home? Die! Die forever! Whatever, you're still dead. Sweet victory. Nice. I like how he kept fighting to the end, you know? You gotta respect that. Alright, Cuzman is our third opponent. And I'm gonna keep this hand. At least I know I won't run out of steam with it, but at the same time, I think I would like to lead off with the Glacial... I mean, yeah, I'm gonna lead off with the Glacial Fortress. Yes. Because I have no island to check it. Like, I have a couple of Saffron Voids here. Okay, there's another one. At least now I'll start, I'll start scrying, you know, every time I play one of these lands, right? Like, these lands are actually pretty valuable in that sense. Seems we're facing Gruul here. Alright, my opponent drops a Pale Collector, calls that a turn. I still don't understand why this doesn't work with Karn, though. Like, can I just get, like, a colorless one? We definitely keep that at the top of our deck. We're attacking with the Voltaic Servant. You know, any sort of damage that we get on him is obviously very valuable. There's Rhythm of the Wild, so it seems we're facing a Gruul Stompy deck. So we definitely got to get going here. We shall keep that there. We're going to play the Antiquities War. And we're gonna set it up. Alright, he's starting to build up a strong board here. With the crab guys here. And is now gonna unleash the damage on us. We're not gonna block that. We need to preserve our artifacts here. Okay. I'm bound to take the explosive apparatus. Okay, I have a decision to make here. If I play all of these, next turn I'm gonna have 25 threatening at him. But if I play Karn and this, I'm still gonna have 20. And Karn gives me a stronger defense, right?
I have faced worse than the likes of you.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Oh, say hello to my little friend.
Unfortunately, Mox Hammer just doesn't work with Karn because I can't generate like a manaless, like a colorless mana, basically. All right, here we go. Here comes the big boy. Okay, I will still block this. Karn will die, and that's fine. But this man is about to. This man is almost dead. Okay, we have he has 10, 13. Okay, so he has 10 damage here, which means as long as I have a blocker. Oh, okay. Okay. How about we play another one? And just keep our blocker so we don't die. We just need to live here. Let me think for a second. I need to make sure that I wouldn't get killed this turn. But realistically speaking, I need to draw. No. I don't have a legendary permanent. I actually need to draw a land to ensure that I can kill him with these two. Or maybe I can surprise. Wait, he's attacking with those? Which means he only has 2 blockers? This guy's doing everything wrong. This guy's doing everything wrong. I mean, I drew the land, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which means that if I play you, I can tap 3 and 3 and you're dead. But I'm just gonna make this line of play. Just because my opponent kind of gave me the win, because I just need to get 1 damage on him and I finish with the apparatus, but I'm going to still do this the way I intended to. Which means playing you here. Boom! Explosive kill, baby! Oh, that's sexy. We went 3-0. We fucking went 3-0. Holy shit. My opponent misplayed like hell though there. Like he definitely should not have opened up. I guess he just didn't read explosive apparatus. It happens, right? Like you can you know, mislook on that one. But yeah, we actually had a win streak with this bad boy. Obviously I play in casual mode because I'm in a bit of a rush today, and I want to have a strong laddering session. So I want to get up to Mythic rank and then start playing all sorts of decks. So these sort of brews that I'm creating, like I haven't had proper time to test them and see just how efficient they are. So I want to try them out here first. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. The deck actually did quite well. It's just very fun to play. It's also another kind of surprise motherfucker sort of strategy. So it does thrive in best of one because your opponent doesn't really know how to play against it at first most of the time. So it's very funny in that regard. And I don't know, it's just some good old MTG fun. So thank you guys for watching my videos and supporting them. I fucking love you. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you tomorrow with more.